happy Sunday. Look, I had to figure out what day of the week it was. Happy Sunday. Can y'all hear me? Can you see me? You know how we do. You know how we do. Tell me if you can hear me. Tell me if you can see me. Let me know. If you're here early, y'all know what that means. That means you the setup crew. You the help. The help in a good way. You can hear me. I see the eyes. You can see me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. I was trying to make sure all the links were, all the links should be on the video. Hear me, see me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, everybody, I see you. Coach Tanisha, Anna, Chakra King, I got you. El Beasley, yep, you can hear me and see me. Everybody, welcome, 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 you guys. Happy Sunday, Happy New Year. Have I been on here this year yet? I don't know. Happy New Year, Happy Sunday, happy birthday if today is your birthday. Happy all of the things, you guys. It's 8 o'clock. I'll give it a few more minutes. Let me know where you're from because you know I want to know where you're from. Just tell me where you're from. That's it. I know there's a ton of. Be careful. And Trina, I see you. Welcome. We will jump in here. I will try to do a long time, but that's what Wi-Fi is trying to be weird, you guys. I am connected and then go back in. Look, you guys, really quickly, we got to do housekeeping. If it goes out, give me a few minutes and I'm going to come back in on another channel. Okay. So if it happens, if we have technical difficulties, we're going to work them out. Okay. We'll work them out. Just come back. I'll come back on. Okay. You know how this works. So I hope everybody can hear me. I hope everybody can see me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Danita, I see you. I know you're Tennessee. I see Memphis, Oxford, Cali. We're all here. We're all here, and we're going to all hope and pray that the Wi-Fi is strong today on this good Sunday in January. Okay? Chicago, Indiana, I see you. I see y'all. Chi-Town, y'all know that's where I was born. I was born in Chicago. If anybody asks me, I'm always like, I'm from Chicago. But don't ask me where anything is in Chicago. But just know I was born at Michael Reese, Cook County. You know what I mean? Just know that. But I don't know anything else. Indiana, Michigan, Indiana. Okay, you guys. All right, you guys, let's jump in. Let me know where you're from. If you didn't tell me, I'll see it. So, you guys, I'm Ashley Pickens. I am here in Memphis, Tennessee. I see you, Orlando, Florida. Memphis, Tennessee, you guys. I have been in real estate since 2006. 2006. Y'all, I was 21 when I got my license. Y'all do the math on how old I am. So, 2006. I got my license. I was a real estate agent. Then I became a estate broker over a firm with like 30 agents, you guys. 30 agents. And then what knows me for is being an auctioneer, right? I auction off closures at the court county, DeSoto County, person that says going once, going twice, sold. Because so are you down there bidding? And I'm like, no, I'm the one like conducting the auction. That's what I do. So I auction off foreclosures at the courthouse. I am literally courthouse steps auctioning off. And I know people hear about that, right? Everybody's like, I hear that they auction off property at the courthouse. But a lot of people are like, maybe they mean like, because people are like, what room are you in? Or what room number? Or at the courthouse? Y'all, like, I'm on the steps at the courthouse. Literally. Literally. York, I see you. Tonight, I want to talk about, I know a poll on Instagram, you guys, your agent Ashley on Instagram, and I asked, like, how many people gone to the auction before? And most everybody wrote it was like they had never been to the auction. Everybody, let's talk about the auction for people. If you have never been, I'm going to answer people have. If you have questions, I will answer them. And if you've been to the auction and you're on my lives on Sunday and you hear me repeat something to the people who have never done an auction before, okay? So that's what we're talking about tonight. Next Thursday, Champagne. I know I seeing it's like saying it's like not connecting. I think I'm connected to Wi-Fi. You got my phone and it's saying like 5G. Does that mean I'm connected or I'm not connected? But I don't want to like close out of the. I think I'm connected at the house. We left and I was. We're gonna see you guys. How are we? Eastern Shore, Maryland. I see you. You guys, are you with me? Every once in a while, we'll do a check-in. Y'all don't have to say. If you can hear me, just press 1. We'll do a check-in every once in a while. And then if something happens, I lose you all, I'll go back in another video. Okay? So right now, we're good. Thank you, DC's King. 1. We're good. So let me try to squeeze in as much as I can squeeze in. Okay. Cool. 1, but it's spotty. Okay. Y'all like, I'm like glitching. I don't know if I'm connected to the Wi-Fi in my house, which is crazy. I should have checked that. But I don't want to go out, and I don't think I'm going to be able to come back in. If it gets bad, you guys, we'll go on another video. But let's roll with it. And let me know if it starts getting like really, really bad, and we'll just try again, okay? But don't worry, I'll teach you all tonight, okay? So, really quick, masterclass is next Thursday. It's on REOs versus auction. I taught this in October. So if you came to the October class, you don't have to come back to this unless you just enjoy listening to me, honestly. So, but again, it's on REO versus auction. The sign up is absolutely free. It's next Thursday. It's live. The sign up is below. Just sign up. It's free. I'll send you the link next Thursday, 8 o'clock, masterclass. And it's just going over the difference. It's called Battle of the Foreclosures because I'm so creative. So we'll talk about the difference between REO properties and auction properties and which one is best for you, where to find them, where to buy them, all of that. So sign up if you're interested next Thursday, the 18th. It's absolutely free. So come, listen, learn, you know, all the things. So tonight, let's talk about auction properties. Let's start from the very beginning. How many of y'all, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, because I told y'all I wasn't going to make you like talk. Like, it's not like church, right? Where they be like, touch your neighbor, slap your neighbor. I'm not going to do all that, right? But how about if you feel like it, press like 1 if you've been to an auction before. If you've been to an auction, press 1. Press 2 if you've never been to an auction, okay? And let's see, okay? I really want to open my computer, but I don't want the Wi-Fi to get an attitude. You know what I mean? So I can talk about 2. You've been to the auction? Yes, Danita. 1s, 2s. Okay. So it's okay. We got a mix, you guys. Okay. 1. I mean, it's literally a mix. Maybe 50% of y'all have. The other half maybe have not. Okay. Cool. Cool. So I'll talk a little bit. If you have questions, ask me. I can see them and I'll try to answer them as much as possible. So let's start at the beginning. Basically, where do you find auction properties, right? Understand, okay, so I do trustee sales at the courthouse, right? So this is where the foreclosure process, let's talk about it. That means usually a homeowner gets behind on their mortgage like 3 months. 3 months usually kicks you into the foreclosure process, right? Lately, though, that's not what's been happening. Y'all know. We got like 5 million people who have not paid in like 2 years. So that 3-month rule is not real. That 3-month rule is not ruling. Okay? So usually, if you get behind 3 months, the bank is going to, they're going to start calling you. Like, where's your money? You going to pay? What do you want to do? Right? If you don't pay in 3 months, they turn your file over to an attorney, basically. And then the attorney comes after you. The attorney will send you a letter that says you have 30 days to pay your past due amount or your property is going up for auction. Okay? That's what it is. You have to pay. A lot of people ask. You got to pay that entire past due amount usually. Not the entire loan balance, right? Not the $300,000 loan. But the past due. If you've been behind 3 months, and what I'm seeing with people being behind like 2 years, you guys, most people who call me who have been behind like 2 years, you guys, their past due amount is like $20,000 or $30,000. Like Nobody has ever called me that is behind 3 months. They're behind like 2 years, right? So that past due amount is like $20,000, okay? And especially people who were covered during the moratorium, right? Remember, people didn't have to pay their mortgage for 2 years because of COVID, moratorium. What's happening is the moratorium is over, right? People are now having to pay their mortgage. They miss a mortgage payment, and the bank is saying you owe your entire past due amount. And most people are like, okay, that's like 1 or 2 months. And they're like, no, it's that whole 2 years that you were covered under that moratorium. I think that's a lot of what happened with the VA loans. Look, I know I'm supposed to be talking about options, but I can get off track, you know. But that's what a lot of people were saying who had VA loans. They didn't think they were going to, like, they thought their payment was going to be tacked on to the end of it, or they were just going to be responsible, like, for just their normal monthly payment. But when they got their bill or whatever, it was like an entire 2 years worth of mortgages. And that's what put them in foreclosure. But anyway, I digress. The point is, the attorney sends them a letter and says, you have 30 days to pay your past due amount or your house is going up for auction, okay? And then boom, that's where I come into the play. Am I sketchy? Am I getting sketchy? Can y'all hear me? See me? Sketchy? We good? I'm not like glitching, am I? That was me glitching on purpose. So, 30 days, your house is going up for auction. That is why a lot of times people, when you go to the auction and it's like, do people live in the house? People can still live in the house because technically it's just like you got 30 days to pay or your house is going up for auction. And most people are still going to be in that house, right? The homeowners are still living there. So that property goes up for auction. Cues Ashley. Ding. That's where I come in, right? So I auction off properties at the courthouse. That's how the properties got to auction. If we're going to take it a step further, which we'll talk about next Thursday, if they come to auction, you guys, and I can't sell them, right? They don't sell, the opening bid is too high, which I'm seeing a lot of because a lot of properties are going up for auction that were just bought 2-3 years ago, post-COVID, right? And we all know how the market was 2021, 22. People were overbidding. They're in foreclosure. Those loans they still owe the whole loan. A lot of places, the property values have declined, right? So now we're seeing at auction, the opening bid is higher than what the property is actually even worth right now. So they won't sell. That does not make sense to an investor. You do not come to the auction and pay full price, right? I mean, unless it's like your grandmama house and you really want to buy it. Or like it's your dream house and you really want it, right? But normally the auction is not for full price people, right? You want a discount when you come to the auction. So if I can't sell it at auction, it reverts back to the bank and becomes an REO property. Real estate owned by the bank. If you're new here, I talk with my hands. Anyway, so it becomes an REO property. And now that's owned by the bank. Auction properties are still owned by the homeowner. Until I say going once, going twice, sold, then the ownership reverts to the bank, okay? But up until that point, it is still owned by the homeowner. So I've had people ask me, like, can I contact the attorney and try to buy the property from them, right? Before it goes to auction. Understand, it's still owned by the homeowner. So the attorney, if anything, will just tell you how much the opening bid is going to be, right? And then they're going to say, well, you probably need to go talk to the homeowner because it's still owned by the homeowner, right? And then they can sell it. You can talk to the homeowner and then they can sell it to you. But the attorneys, they're not going to work out a deal with you 9 times out of 10. I mean, unless you're like BlackRock, right? They probably doing some deals behind closed doors. But you know, that's not what this conversation is about, right? So, and then you could probably go buy the note, like the defaulted note. But that's a conversation for another day, right? So I buy an auction list and help homeowners stop the foreclosure auction before they hit the auction. Some want the help, but some don't. You're absolutely right. Some of them are in denial, right? Because that's what we do, right? We try to help. And then some of them are just in denial, right? Until it's just too late, right? Until it's like the day before auction, and then it's like, oh, sugar honey iced tea, what am I gonna do, right? So, it's just, I don't know. And that's why people are like, nobody's gonna foreclose. There's too much equity. The market's too good. Y'all, there's gonna be people who foreclose. People foreclose every single year, even in a good market. People foreclose. I say this all the time. It's a circle of life, right? People buy houses, people sell houses, and people lose their house. Like, we foreclose on about 150 to 200,000 properties every year in a good market. In 2019, I think we foreclosed on like 143,000 people in 2019, right? But lately, post COVID, we have not been foreclosing, right? 2020, I think we foreclosed on maybe 40,000 people. 21, last year, I think it was 40, 22, like 25,000 people. Banks just aren't foreclosing, right? So it's a lot of properties in the pipe. That's all I'm telling y'all. It's a lot of properties in the pipe. I'm not saying the market's going to crash, right? But I'm saying it's a lot of foreclosures in the pipe. Unless it is an election year and they come up with some assistance or some program or modification or another forbearance to stop people from losing their homes, right? So I think that's what everybody's watching. Everybody's waiting to see how this plays out with it being an election year, with everything that goes on, right? You just never know. That's the wild card that everybody's trying to see what's going to happen with the market, right? So, okay, let's continue. So, REO property, if I can't sell it, it becomes an REO property. For those of you, I always say this, I love the auction. I am biased towards the auction, right? But everybody's blood pressure is not set at auction, right? It's just not there. Everybody's wallet is not set to auction. Auction is high risk. I would say that, right? You don't usually get people who just jumped into real estate going to the auction. That's just not usually how it works. It's usually seasoned investors who know their numbers, who know their profit margins, can look at a house and say, okay, this is how much it'll cost to fix that house up. Because keep in mind, you guys, what did I say? The homeowner could still live in that house. So what does that mean? That means you can't go walk around that house, right? You're bidding blind. You are bidding on properties that you cannot see the inside of. And everybody's blood pressure cannot handle that, right? That's just not for everybody, right? So you're bidding on properties that people might still live in. You're bidding on properties that you can't see the inside of. So that's not, the auction is not for everybody, right? REO properties, and that's what we're going to talk about in the masterclass next Thursday. REO properties, they are owned by the bank. The bank owns them, right? So you can go in the property, right? You can get an inspection. You can see the inside of the property, and you can use financing, right? Unlike me at the auction, you have to have cash, right? You gotta have the coins. You gotta have coins to come see me. Only VA loans are still getting assistance past the deadline. Right, that's what I'm seeing right now. However, the year is still young, right? The year is still young. Keep in mind, COVID forbearance just ended the end of November, November 30th, right? That was the last of our COVID assistance, ended November 30th. We all talked about this before. I'm assuming, I think y'all agree, if COVID forbearance ended November 30th, they're not going to tell them you got to pay a mortgage December 1st, right? They're not going to say you got to pay a mortgage tomorrow. They're probably going to say, okay, November 30th, forbearance ended. Your first payment will probably be due January 1st, right? Is what I'm assuming in my mind. Not that I know what people think, right? But I would think they're not going to say your first payment is due December 1st. They're probably going to say it's due January 1st. So now we're going to see all these people who have come out of COVID forbearance, and we're going to see if they make their payment January 1st. And then that, if they make their payment January 1st or February 1st, and I think that will be the telling sign for these mortgage companies if people miss these first payments out of forbearance, right? So if they start seeing people miss January and people miss February, then it's going to be like, oh, shoot, let's kick in some more something, right? We need to try to come up with a forbearance or an extension like they did VA, right? They didn't, it's kind of reactive, right? VA extension kicked in because they started seeing everybody defaulting on these VA loans. They'll probably start kicking in FHA, conventional, these government-backed loans. They'll probably try to kick something in February, March, when people start missing these payments, is what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. That doesn't mean I'm right, but I'm assuming that's probably what's going to happen, right? And then they'll probably do something like the VA, extend it until June, right? I think FHA has already said that almost 20% of their loans are in default right now. So we'll see what happens, right? I'm sure these numbers will start coming out. You got to realize, you guys, it's like a lag in all the information you see, like on the news, in the media, in the articles. It's a lag when it comes to the real estate market, right? So they said like Case-Shiller. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Case-Shiller report. That's where everybody gets their numbers from, right? Like when you see articles about housing sales, mortgage numbers, how many properties are staying on the market, Case-Shiller is this big company that collects all the data, right? And that's where everybody pulls their information from. They said Case-Shiller is like 3 months behind, right? So the numbers we're seeing, we haven't seen like October, November, December numbers. We're still looking at like it's a lag. So now here, come January, first of the year, we'll start seeing the third quarter numbers and what they really look like. So that's what we'll see. That's what I predict to happen, right? They're gonna, once people start missing these payments, we'll start getting a program or some assistance or some modification, and we'll see. We'll see. Y'all, what was I saying, you guys? Oh, everybody's blood pressure. Everybody's blood pressure. Thanks, Danita. Everybody's blood pressure cannot handle the auction, right? So my point is, REO properties are still a good, viable resource for people to get in the real estate market. You can use traditional financing. Boom. That's what I was saying. There it is. It all comes back. Traditional financing, REO properties, right? They're owned by the bank. You can get an inspection. You can use financing, FHA, conventional, VA, FHA 203K. You can probably use hard money. You can use whatever you want with REO properties, right? Because you're dealing with the bank. The bank owns it, okay? You can negotiate. Everybody knows. Say it with me. Negotiate with the bank. I mean, they get enough fees from us. Y'all negotiate. Lowball the bank. I'm telling you. REO properties. That's HUDHomestore.com. HUDHomestore.gov. HUD Home Store, right? Thanks, Danita. Thank you, Danita. HUD Home Store. Homepath.com. Homesteps.com. Those are REO websites where you can find properties, foreclosed properties, and use financing. Keep in mind, at the auction, I only take cash, you guys. Certified funds. Certified funds. At the courthouse, certified funds in the full amount. I know other auction platforms, they might give you 24 hours to bring the money. They might. At the courthouse, you guys, certified funds in the complete amount, right? So that does not matter if the opening bid is $500, $500,000, $5 million. I need the complete amount in certified funds at the auction. So again, that's not everybody's life, right? Everybody does not have liquid cash like that sitting in their bank account, right? So if you don't, oh, and at the auction, you can't negotiate with me, right? You can negotiate with Bank of America and Wells Fargo. You can't negotiate with me. At the auction, whatever the opening bid is, that is what it is, okay? And then you go from there. So, and that's, again, what we'll talk about in the masterclass. Sign up for it. It's free. The difference between auctions and REO properties, okay? So, let's keep going. Everybody good? Everybody clear on where we are? Of course, if you got questions, thank you. HUD, home store, home path, that's right. Home steps, that's all REO properties. Right now, there might not be a lot of properties. Keep in mind with foreclosures, it's always a lag, you guys. Always. Even the last housing market crash, right? The market crashed in 2008. We saw the peak foreclosures in 2010 is when we saw like 1 million foreclosures in 2010, okay? The peak. So keep that in mind. So if you go to these sites like HUD Home Store, Home Path, Home Steps, just bookmark them, right? And then go back, get familiar with the process, understand how they work. So when the doors open, you will be there and ready and prepared, right? Y'all know what I say on this channel. Team, no flat screens. No flat screens. If you're new here, we hope you did not go shopping and buy flat screens this past holiday season. Save your coins, get your credit, right? So you'll be ready. Moving right along. If you have questions, let me know. I'll try to answer them. But let's keep going. No flat screens. That's right. Okay, you guys. So back to auction properties. Like I said, how do you find them? That's the other question y'all always ask me. How do you find auction properties, right? So where's my paper? If you've been here before, you know I have this trusty, my handy dandy paper. So I think the biggest myth before I started doing auctions myself is people would be like, look in the paper, right? I even heard that. I heard they're auctioning off properties at the courthouse. I heard that they were doing that, right? And if you ask somebody where to find them, they're like, they said they're in the paper, right? I heard those two things. I don't know if y'all have heard that before, but they're always like, look in the paper, and somewhere they auction off foreclosures at the courthouse. But I never had like any definite concrete information on like how, where, what properties, what time, what corner of the courthouse, what paper am I supposed to look in, right? So your auction mama is here to help you. So if you are looking for auction properties, right? I told you REO properties, auction properties. I say auction.com is a great place to find auction properties. I don't know why nobody ever wants to look there though. Auction.com, hubzoo.com, Xome, it's home with an X. So XOME.com, realtybid.com, 10x.com has all like the commercial properties. It's a link down below. I got a whole website, auction website list. It's free. I give away stuff for free all the time. Literally all the time. It's the residential, commercial, land, and government-owned website. It's down below. Click on, it's one link. Click on it. All my resources are there. So that's that. Now, if you are one of those people that heard look in the paper, bam, bam, bam. Can y'all see? Can y'all see? It's usually in these smaller papers, you guys. It's not like in the big, wherever you live, Chicago, what is it? Chicago Times? Chicago Tribune? I don't know. New York Times, LA Times, it's not in those big papers. Here in Memphis, Commercial Appeal, no. Look in your smaller publications, okay? And what you're looking for is the public notice, okay? You guys, you're looking for the notice. Remember, I said the attorney sends a letter to the homeowner, right? And says, you have 30 days to pay this past due or your property is going up for auction. They send the homeowner a letter and they have to publish it in the paper, okay? The public notice, letting them know, letting the public know that this property is going up for auction. And if there are any interested parties, to come forward, right? Interested parties are people who might have a lien on that house. Any interested parties. They're usually listed when I read the paperwork at the auction. I usually read if there are any interested parties. It'll say like, it could be like Chase Bank, it could be Target, it could be like if somebody put like a mechanic's lien on that property, they'll be listed as interested parties. Okay, so they have, the point is they have to publish it, they have to post it in the paper, right, for the public to know it. So that's usually in your smaller papers, and you're looking for the public notice. Okay, so, and it usually goes out 30 days before the auction. That is where most people, that's where most of your wholesalers, that's where most of your everybody, I always say when the notice is published, that's when blood is in the water, right? That's when, I mean, because they're letting everybody know that your property is going up for auction, basically, right? I tell homeowners, get ready. They're going to start calling you, texting you, leaving notices on your door. They might start walking around your house. Just know that that's what it is. That's what it is, right? So if you are looking for auction properties, look in the smaller paper wherever you live. Nashville, I think it's the Tennessee Ledger. Here in Memphis, it's the Daily News. Look for the smaller papers. If you do not have a smaller paper, I would say Google your county, like I'm Shelby County public notices, right? Google that wherever you live, Cook County, Gwinnett County, Fulton County, Cobb County, wherever you live, Harris County, public notices. Put that in Google. You might have to do a little digging, a little clicking, and then you will find it. You should find it. Some of the sites make you pay for it, right? Some of them will not let you just look at people private business. Clearly, here in Memphis and Shelby County, they don't care about our private business. It's just open, free to the public. You can look it up. If you're getting divorced, if you're paying child support, it's here, right? But I think in Nashville, they make you kind of pay. I think Nashville makes you pay to look at the deed, the records and deeds. Nashville's public notices are free to look at. But if you're trying to dig deeper, you're going to have to pay for it. Shelby County, they got all your business out. Just trust. It's all of your businesses out. So that's how you find them. Are we all clear on that? Clear? Yes. 1, if you're clear. 2, if you're not clear. And if you're not clear, tell me why you're not clear. But Google public notices, look in the smaller paper, or go to like auction.com, hubzoo.com, or go to one of the sites. Okay, we good on that. So after you find the property, right? What's the next thing? Due diligence. Due diligence. I think this is the part that kind of scares people a little bit, right? You guys, if you got questions, just ask me. I'll stop and read them and probably get distracted and get thrown off, but then I'll find my way back. So, due diligence when it comes to auctions, okay? If you follow me on Instagram, Your Agent Ashley. If you follow me on Instagram, I always talk about this. Always, always. You've got to do, like I said, everybody's blood pressure is not set to auction, okay? It's just not. So, there's some things you have to do before you come bid, right? And I'll talk about this in the masterclass. You guys, like if your friends call you and they're like, there's this house going up for auction, it's $400,000 and the opening bid is $50,000. I don't care, you guys. There are things you have to do. It might sound like a great deal, but you are going to be upset and your whole year is going to be ruined. Your whole year is going to be ruined if you pay $50,000 for a house and you don't have any ownership of it because your friend called you thinking it was a good deal and they didn't know, right? So now you're out $50,000 and your whole year is ruined. Anyway, it's not the point. Due diligence, okay? So my 2 must-do things before you go to the auction. If you find a property, you guys, you got to drive by the property and you've got to do a title search, okay? Say it with me. Drive by, title search. Those are my two things, okay? If anybody calls you and says they are selling properties for 50 cents at the auction, you need to drive by and you need to do, well, I mean, if they're selling for 50 cents, y'all, you get the point. Do those two things. Drive by and do a title search. Drive by, one, to make sure that the property is there, okay? You can buy a pile of dirt. I have heard of people buying a pile of dirt. Can you imagine paying, like, thinking you're getting a house and you pay what, like $50,000, $75,000, and you pull up and it's a pile of dirt? Don't trust Google, Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Realty Track. Don't trust any of them. You guys, somebody has to lay eyes on that property, okay? You got to drive by it. Be very particular about verifying the address, okay? Be very particular about that. I've heard of people, there's a difference between, like, let's say 1234 Central Avenue, 1234 Central Boulevard, and 1234 Central Street. Those could be three very different properties, okay? Be very careful and verify which property you are buying, you guys. I have seen, again, I've been doing this for years. Attorneys make mistakes. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've seen mistakes. Like, I've seen the public notice and it will have the address and it'll be off by like one number, right? It's supposed to be 1122 and it'll be 1123, right? And I'm like, ooh, I hope whoever is bidding make sure they know what they're buying, right? So just double check is all I'm saying. You also need to drive by because you have to find out if it's vacant or occupied. You guys remember? Homeowners could still be in that property, okay? So if it is still occupied, you guys, you are responsible for evicting those people. You are responsible for putting those people out. And so you need to know, right, before you go by, if somebody's living there, right? So you need to drive by, find out if people live there. See what the neighborhood is like. I always say this. It could be, you need to drive by in the daytime and the nighttime. I used to tell my clients that too. Like when I worked residential, now I work investment side. But when I worked residential, I'm like, drive by at nighttime. In the daytime, everybody's at work or sleeping, right? Nighttime, it might be the trap house, right? Or the crack house. You never know. Like, you got to drive by in the daytime and the nighttime. Check the neighborhood, right? Especially like if you're planning on reselling it, right? I guess you got to determine what your end game is. If you're buying at the auction, are you going to buy it and rent it, or are you going to buy it and flip it? And I think that probably depends on how much you're going to buy for it. You're going to pay for it, right? I think that determines in the neighborhood, but mostly what you're going to pay for it. I've seen guys at the auction come to buy a property to flip it, and then it got bid up too high, and they were like, I'm going to have to rent it, right? Because it's just the profit margins aren't there anymore because it got bid up. So I guess you need to figure out your game plan first, but that's not what this video was about. But you need to figure that out. So yes, drive by the property, right? Neighborhood, is it vacant? Is it occupied? If it's occupied, you've got to evict them. So that could mean cash for keys. That could mean going to court, right? And that kind of needs to be factored in to how much you're willing to pay for the property, right? So drive by, make sure it's there. You also need to check for repairs, you guys. Just because you can't see the inside of the property does not mean that you can't check for repairs on the outside of the property. I did a whole video about that. Like the roof, you guys. The roof. However we say it. You know what I'm talking about. The roof, right? Siding, windows, landscaping, trees. You can estimate all of that by looking at the outside of the property, right? Now you just can't look at the inside of the property unless they let you in. but they're probably not gonna let you in the house. So, but figure out what you can figure out, right? If you can see the outside, you can estimate if the roof is in good condition. Is the air conditioning still there, or is it just a cage in the back? You know what I mean? There are things that you can calculate from driving by the property that you need to calculate, because repairs are a big part of your budget, right? Because think about it, you guys, you got to come to the auction with all the money that you're going to pay, right? I guess we need to talk about that too. How do you pay? My point is, a lot of times people are like, how do you know how much money to bring? That's a question I get all the time. How do you know how much money to bring? Right? So that's for you to figure out, right? You have to calculate how much is the property worth. Like, after you fix it up, are you going to flip it? Are you going to rent it out, right? How much repairs are going to be needed? Your profit margins, and then your maximum bid. So how much are you willing to spend for that? Or how much are you willing to pay for that property, right? So that's, and then you bring that money to the auction, how much you're willing to pay for it. But those are things you need to know if somebody lives in it, right? Or if it needs a new roof, or if you need a whole HVAC system, or if you got to put like all the copper. You know, they were like stealing copper for a while everywhere. So, you know what I mean? Those are things you got to factor in. Are there any avenues to find out if the property has had significant work done, like a car? I mean, you don't really know, like, on the interior. Like, maybe if it's like a brand new house, right, and it just got built, then you would assume that everything is pretty new, right? But it's not like, you can't really, I don't know, can you pull like insurance insurance claims on a house? I don't think that's like public knowledge, right? I don't think it is, unless maybe a title company can pull that, but there's no place to pull, unless you can look and see what permits maybe were pulled, like if they added an extension on the back of the house or something like that. Or you would probably look at pictures from Zillow and maybe see what the most updated pictures look like to give you an idea. But for the most part, somebody needs to come up with an app for that. We need an app for that. You know, how do you, the repairs needed on the inside of a house? So like when you're buying traditionally, right? Like traditional purchase and sale agreement, when a property is on the market, the homeowners usually fill out a property condition disclosure for everybody in real estate who bought a house. And that's something that these sellers fill out and say, hey, okay, our air conditioner is this old, our roof is this old, we had a fire in the kitchen, 3 years ago. They put all of that on that form in a traditional sale, right? They disclose all that. But when you're buying an auction property, the seller's not filling out anything, right? They probably not trying to move, honestly. You know what I mean? So you, as the investor, just has to know your numbers. Again, that's why I say the auction is not always for brand new investors, right? It's usually it's those seasoned investors who flip properties. That's who comes see me at the auction here. Like, it's the hedge funds. It's these big property management companies that have teams that they know if they buy an 1,800 square foot house, how much it's going to cost to fix it up, right? That's what they do. So it's kind of one of those, not saying that brand new investors cannot come to the auction, right? Y'all can come. Just know your numbers. You know what I mean? Just know, everybody's got their own formula. Some people have that 70% formula where they're buying 70% of the after repair value. I'm not going to get in that because I don't want to confuse y'all, but y'all know what I'm saying. Every investor has their numbers of the profit they need to make and how much they're willing to pay. But to answer your question, I don't think it's a Carfax. Somebody needs to make an app for that. Make an app for that. Okay, you guys, where was I at? What was I talking about? See, that's how I try to answer questions, but then I get thrown off. What was I talking about, you guys? Repairs on the outside, driving by, due diligence. Ding, I'm back. And we're back. Yeah, so you got to drive by, calculate repairs, before you bid. The next thing you have to do is a title search, you guys. You got to do a title search. You got to look at the title because you can buy the wrong lien. You do not want to buy a second lien. You guys, you can't do anything with it. You don't want to buy a mechanic's lien, right? You can, right? I've read a notice before at an auction, and I don't know. I know there's been people on here before who said they've gone to auctions and they announce if it's a second lien. I don't announce it because I don't know, right? I don't even know where the property is half the time, right? They just give me my schedule and I just call it, right? I don't know if people live in the house. I don't know if the title is clear. Sometimes the attorney will be out there and they'll say the title is clear, but I don't know, you guys. That's why you have to do a title search, okay? To make sure you are buying the correct lien that gives you ownership of the property. Does that make sense to everybody? Does that, everybody still with me? Y'all still with me here? Making sure I'm not like glitching or anything at this point. I don't even want to mention that. Yeah, okay, good. Everybody's still here. If you got questions, let me know. Boom. Don't forget, sign up for the masterclass. All my links are below. I just figured I would throw that in there real quick. I feel like my voice is leaving too. It's getting kind of late, you guys. And then my voice starts leaving. So, title search, due diligence, check that you can check titles. Usually, most common places, if you know how to look on the county records and deeds, you can look at the title, right? No, good. You can look at the title. You can pay somebody to do a title. If you work with a good, look, I'm reading it, a good title company, they might do one for you, like do a soft title search for you. There's online companies that'll do a title. I've never used them. I cannot vouch for any online companies. I don't know. Most people, like most of the investors I know, they look at the title, right? After you bid so many times, you can kind of see and make sure what lien you are buying, okay? So, boom. Drive by, title search. If you work with a good title company, they have, yeah, that's what I always say. Like, that's what I do. Like, I got a good title company. I'll be like, look at this title. Especially if I'm working with a homeowner and they're probably about to sell, I'm like, pull this title. Go ahead and pull this title right now so we can see and make sure their payoff is what it is and they don't have like a modification or something like that. So, yeah, county records and deeds, just get in the habit of looking at that. What I will say, and I'm going to try to say this so I don't confuse you, right? On the public notice, you guys, there's usually like an instrument number, it's an instrument number on that notice. That instrument notice coincides with the county records and deeds. That loan that's foreclosed, that's being foreclosed on, will be on the county records and deeds, right? That's how you verify which loan is being foreclosed on, okay? The public notice will have that, okay? It will have it. You match it on the county records and deeds office, okay? That's all I can give you because I don't want to confuse you guys. Get the course. I made a course. It teaches you how to do a whole title search, everything. It's down below, the Auction Accelerator. I walk you through step by step, all of it. So, okay, you guys. Yeah, instrument number. Boom. How do you pay at the auction? That's another thing that people always ask me. How do you pay, right? So once you figure out the max amount you're willing to pay, if a property is going up for auction for $50,000, right? And you're like, okay, I'm willing to pay $80,000 for it, you guys. Again, with me at the courthouse, trustee sales, you guys, you got to bring me the $80,000, right? In a cashier's check. Don't bring me $80,000 like in a brown paper bag or nothing like that, okay? Don't do that. So, in the form of a cashier's check, okay? I don't take pre-approvals, 401ks. I don't take personal checks. I do not take your personal check. No personal checks, no credit cards, none of that. I don't take any of that. People are like, I got proof of my 401. I do not take proof of funds of any kind. I only take the funds. That's it. So most people, right? For example, where are my little props, right? We're going to pretend this is a prop. Most people get cashier's checks in increments, okay, you guys? Increments. That means more than one, right? So if you're only willing to pay $80,000, you could bring me a cashier's check for $80,000. Don't talk about my little make-believe cashier's check. It's for your viewing purposes, right? So you could buy one cashier's check for $80,000, right? And bring that. But let's say you are the only person that shows up at the auction, right? And that happens all the time. So for me, if you're the only person at the auction, you get the property for $1 over opening bid, right? So $50,001. Now you have brought me an $80,000 cashier's check, right? I don't have change for $80,000, right? So you're going to give me an $80,000 cashier's check, and you're going to wait for your deed and your refund to come in the mail. Now, what you could do is you could get, look at me, 4 $20,000 cashier's checks, right? Or you can get 2 $40,000 cashier's checks. Y'all still with me? I know we kind of like first grade math right here. But increments instead of having one big cashier's check, right? And a lot of people do that, especially if they're bidding on multiple properties, right? They'll just get a bunch of $20,000 cashier's checks. And so you don't have to wait on a huge refund to come in the mail, right? So get increments in cashier's checks. Also, make the cashier's check out to yourself, you guys. Make it out to yourself. It can be your business name, your LLC name, whatever it is. Make it out to yourself. Make it payable to yourself. That means if you do not win the property, you can just deposit it back in your bank account. If you do win the property, you just flip it over, endorse the back. I have a stamp for it. Depends on what attorney it is. Sometimes I have a stamp, and then you get it to them, right? Makes it easy. Make it payable to yourself. Boom. That's the best way to do it, you guys. And people ask, yes, you can do it in your LLC name. Whoever on the bank account, like whatever name is on the bank account, right? So, cashier's checks, increments, make it payable to yourself. If you win it, you turn it over. If you don't win it, you put it back in your bank account. And you try again for the next time, right? Know how funds are received for payment before. Yeah. So, that's me at the courthouse. Some places, I think you can pay a deposit, right? I think you can put down a certain amount, then they give you 24 hours. If you're bidding online, you guys, of course, you got to wire money, right? You just got to wire it to them. So, yes, know how, wherever you're bidding, know their terms and conditions when it comes to payment, okay? If you got to put down a deposit and then you change your mind, you're probably not going to get your deposit back. I'm just going to say that. Some auction platforms, they have a buyer's premium, right? You got to pay like 1% of the winning bid on top of, you know, the winning bid. Don't bring me no, not in the brown bag. I have heard attorneys say that people have brought cash before. Like, the attorney will take it. I'm not going to take it, right? I'm not going to take it. It depends on what attorney is out there with me. If there's an attorney out there with me. I know one attorney will probably take it, right? If you bring cash, she going to take it and deposit it. I'm not, right? I'm not, because I just hand it over. But no trap money. Don't bring that money from out from under your mattress. You know what I mean? Not in the brown bag. Don't do it. Not in a suitcase or a duffel bag. Y'all, I'm in Memphis at the courthouse. Like that's like a double negative, right? Memphis at the courthouse. Like literally, I'm like the judges and stuff when they come walk. I mean, y'all, for real, for real. I'm at the courthouse. So, not the jailhouse, but at the courthouse, right? So, get a cashier's check, okay? Somebody has asked me about money orders before. I've never taken money orders. And I thought when I looked like you can only get money orders up to a certain amount. right? Like up to maybe $1,000 or $1,500, you're just gonna have a whole bunch of money orders, right? So the most common way is cashier's check. That's all I'm saying. Make it payable to yourself. The auction is free. Boom. I knew it's always something I always say. I'm gonna make a new how to buy a house at the auction 2024 video. I try to make one every year. I did one in 2020. That is my most watched video on all of YouTube. How to buy a house at the auction. That's the channel. That's the video that I'm usually ranked like number 1 or 2 on YouTube with how to buy a house at the auction, right? But I need to make one for 2024, right? So auctions are open to the public. Okay, I know car auctions, I think you need a license to go to the car auction. Y'all, I'm on the courthouse steps. You can just walk right up, right? They're open to the public. There's no fee to like register. I don't make you pay anything. I don't know if other auction people making y'all pay, but I don't make you pay anything. You walk up, you register, the registration process, and you only register if you bid, right? Like you can come and watch. I tell everybody, you guys in the auction accelerator, everybody, go to the auction, you guys. You can go practice, right? If you just want to go see what it's like, you can go see what it's like. Just don't bid, right? Just don't bid. But go see. I always say, find out where you need to park, right? I was at the courthouse today. You guys, here in Memphis, the courthouse, we have at least 6 entrances to the courthouse, right? I can't talk. To the courthouse, right? 6 entrances. You need to find out which entrance the courthouse is. Auction.com, they conduct in a hotel, conference inn here, like on the 3rd floor in a conference room. You need to find out where it is, right? Just go sit down, see how many people are there, how quickly they get bid up. Here in Memphis, we bid up by about hundreds, right? So it's always usually like plus 100. In Texas, Florida, California, y'all might be bidding up by like 10,000s. I don't know, right? But that's something you need to know, right? How quickly they get bid up and how many people are there, right? That's where do you park? Which entrance do you go in? You might go make friends with the auctioneer, right? I mean, I know all my people here in Shelby County, so they might not be as nice where y'all are. But I mean, I know my bidders, you know what I mean? They text me like every Friday and like, what's on the schedule? So go, you know what I'm saying? Go practice, go get in the environment, go see how it is. It's free, right? I think in Chicago, one of my mentees was telling me in Chicago, when they have the auction, like it's in a place where it's like a tax auction. They got the foreclosure auctions. They got like everything is going on at one time. You got to go find out where you have to be. You know what I mean? Go get in the atmosphere, right? Bring smaller increment. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. So go see. At least go see. I challenge everybody to go to an auction. And y'all like, Ashley, where's the auction? Go on auction.com, put in your county, and then see when the next auction is. And then just go, right? Just pull up, go. That's how, even if you don't want to bid in your county, if you want to bid like out of state, just go to auction.com, see where your closest auction is, and go, right? Boom. Do that. That's something. Do something. You know what I mean? Besides, watch me here on Sundays, right? What else, you guys? Deeds and refunds come in the mail. Deeds and refunds come in the mail. If you give me a cashier's check, I am not going to my car and pulling out change for a $10,000 cashier's check. I do not take your American Express. I don't in my car, right? So deeds and refunds come in the mail. I would advise you to be very careful about starting repairs before you get a deed, okay? I would be very careful about paying taxes before you get a deed, okay? Taxes are not included in the winning bid unless it's a tax sale. And I don't do tax sales. Taxes are not included in the winning bid. So that's a part of your due diligence, right? Drive by, check the title, check the taxes, and see if you got to pay some taxes. But don't pay them until you get the deed, okay? Right of redemption. Right of redemption. Let's talk about that real quick. We going on 61 minutes and 33 seconds. I know on the East Coast it's like 10 o'clock. So I'm about to wrap it up here shortly. So you guys, really quick though, what did I say? Deeds and refunds come in the mail. Right of redemption. Right of redemption. It depends on where you live. Foreclosurelaw.org. Foreclosurelaw.org usually will tell you what your right of redemption rules are in your state. That means after the auction, the homeowner has a chance to come back and redeem the property. They got to pay all the fees, they got to pay the interest, whatever. So if you buy a property, they will pay you your money back that you paid for the property, and then they can redeem the property. That usually does not happen, but it can, right? So that's why people are like, don't pay the taxes and be very careful about starting repairs until you have a deed in your hand. Okay? Actually, you don't have to pay a registration fee at your auction members. No, I'm at the courthouse. You just walk right up. There's no registration. And I have like one little, I was trying to see if I had it here. One little form, like you put the bidder name, because a lot of times people can bid on your behalf. I got people who bid for hedge funds. You see them on the phone. You know, people who bid for out of town investors. You put the bidder name. You put the vesting name. The vesting name is what you want on the deed. Okay? So bidder name could be Ashley. Vesting name could be Ashley Investments LLC, right? Whatever name you want on the deed. Put a good address, because again, deeds and refunds come in the mail. It'll ask for an address and a phone number. And that's it. That's all I have for registration. Bidder name, vesting name, address, phone number. Bam. I don't take any payment at the auction. Not at the courthouse. Auction.com don't take any payment either. Because I've been to their auctions before. They don't take any payment. Don't be letting people get over. Ain't nobody charging you a fee at the auction. Because that's another thing people ask me. Are there any other fees that come with bidding at the auction? You guys, if the winning bid is $50,001, I only want $50,001. That is it. There are no other fees that I collect. That is it. That's me at the courthouse, right? These other places, they might have a buyer's premium. They might have other things. For me in my house, for me in the courthouse, it's the winning bid. That's it. All I want. You guys, I could talk all night. Like I could literally talk all night. You saw me talk to myself for the past 64 minutes. Um, Real quick. It's always real quick. Y'all know I do this. 3 of my best recommendations when it comes to real estate movies. Y'all know this. Half of y'all know this. Websites are you to bid. Like auction.com, you bid on auction.com. You can bid, if I'm answering your question correctly, you can bid on auction.com, hubzoo.com. Most of them, like all those, you can bid online. You can, there in my description box, it's going to see all of my resources, and it's a link. Click on that link and you website, all the websites, the one link, you guys, all down there. That's what you're asking me. Websites can you bid online? So my top 3 recommendations, if you didn't know this, I'm completely obsessed with the last housing market crash. So I always tell people, watch The Big Short. I mean, everybody knows about The Big Short. Watch 99 Homes. 99 Homes. Danita will post this down. The Big Short. Everybody's heard The Big Short. 99 Homes. That's another really good movie you should watch. It's got profanity in it. Don't watch it around your kids. And The Inside Job. I really like that movie too. It's a documentary about the housing market crash. Big Short, 99 Homes, Inside Job. Okay? Really good movies. If you're interested, if you're not interested, don't worry about it. I'm just kind of obsessed. You guys, what else? I think I answered all the questions. Accelerator, mentorship, all of the things are down below, you guys. The masterclass is next Thursday at 8 o'clock. Go sign up for it. It's absolutely free. I have a newsletter if y'all want to sign up for that. I've got like 6,000 people on my newsletter. So sign up. It's good. I give out information. I like freebies. Um, you know, all the things, all the things. I am on Instagram at Your Agent Ashley. I'm on YouTube. Duh. You got anything else? I think that I'm usually on here every Sunday, right? Sunday, I come chat with you, talk with you. Do y'all have any more questions for me? Any more questions? I hope y'all learned something on if you've never been to the auction. Learned something. Yeah, my movie time. Did you learn something? Anything worthwhile today? I challenge everybody to go to an auction. I challenge wants to see what it's like, get in the atmosphere. Will like motivate you to get on your real estate journey, real estate investing journey, right? Hope this does absolutely. I'll be back on Sunday. Next Sunday we'll probably talk about. I don't know what we'll talk about next Sunday. Maybe some more facts will be out, like foreclosure states, foreclosure city stuff. You know, I'm always like a geek about all the numbers and what's going on across the country. So hopefully that will be out. HUD's report just came out. Oh, you guys, HUD's report came out. You know, 5 million people every single month. So HUD's report for December just they put it in percentages and I usually do it. So I got to calculate the percentages. But it's still 5 million people. 5 million people are still behind on their mortgage for the month of December. 5 million people have been behind on their mortgage for the last 2 years. And you know, I don't believe that $5 million number. I think it's closer to 8 or 10. So that's all I got for you guys. I had like a really great week. All the things that you want to sign up for are down below. And that's all I got, you guys. Click it or ticket. Be kind, rewind. You know? Thank you for info. All the bid is 51,000. You just need 51,000. If the opening bid is 51,000, right? You got to do $1 over. You got to give me $1 over. Be $51,001, right? That's what I want. That's all I take at the auction. You got to give me $1 over. Mortgage. Yes. So foreclosures are. That's why I say get in position, get ready. Don't have cash to come see me at the auction. Go to financing, pay down your debt, get your credit in order so you can, you know, take advantage. Because y'all, right? So all I'm saying is get in position, right? Do what you have to do. You know what you have to do. Don't spend your tax money. Save it. Do the things you need. So you are welcome. I will be back next Sunday. I'll see you. If you're Agent Ashley at gmail.com. Have a great week. You know, stay safe with all the storms coming. Stay safe. Everybody getting hit. West Coast, East Coast, South, Northeast. So be careful. Be careful. Okay, you guys. That's it. I'm getting off of here. 70 minutes and 48 seconds. It's long enough to watch The Big Short. Okay, you guys. I'm off. Talk to you soon. I'm hanging up. I'm hanging up first this time. No, you hang up. No, you hang up first. I'm hanging up. Bye, you guys.